Treetop Village card that really speaks to a game going long.
Yeah, Treetop Village just wants to grind it out, kind of get some beats in. This is the old 4-4, 4-4, 4-4, 4-4, 4-4 Merfolk deck with
Now,
20 lands.
One of the things it has the 4 standstills. Merfolk is one of the only decks I actually like standstill in.
Yes, Aether Vial.
I think that one of the really telling things about seeing standstill get removed from Jerry Thompson and Drew Levin's blue-white control deck and get replaced with Ancestral Vision, that after they played it, they were like, this was a mistake.
So Rob is leading on Mox Diamond, discarding a Treetop Village.
Dark Confidant on turn 1?
Dark Confidant off of Forest.
There we go.
That is exactly what he wants
Look at
against
that
Merfolk.
pretty forest.
Beta?
That's a nice forest.
I want 6th edition, that's what I want.
Really?
Yeah.
Actually, my favorite forest is a white bordered forest that looks like it's got smoke instead of a tree. Force a Will.
Force a Will, that
Curse
Bob.
Catcher is forced. Now, both of those are not removed from the game, my friend. Only one of them. They don't get to go to the same location.
I think the Curse Catcher might be like a weird sort of exile zone. Beta Island, go.
Just because these players are playing basics that are beta, you at home are not required to. It's much cheaper to not.
Second Bob for Robert.
Dazed.
Dazed. Oh no, and I'm gonna play a
sit
land
there.
after getting
Wah, wah,
dazed.
wah.
Oh. Island go. In Rob's favor. That was a time walk. Basic Swamp.
Tim to Turek? No,
Loam.
Loam.
Get back Treetop Village. What's he gonna do with his extra 2 mana? Does he have Barrenmore in his? Oh, he does not have Barrenmore in his deck. Second Island for Spencer. Debating whether he's gonna cast this Aether Vial, cast a Standstill, do something else. Cast a Core Home Commander. Let's see here. Robert down on cards in hand. Drew a That's
Edict.
a Diabolic Edict.
Yeah, it's a good edict.
Main phase is the Edict. Interestingly, I think he might have wanted to wait on that. I think that the Merfolk, maybe he doesn't know what the Merfolk deck has. Maybe it'll have what's it called? Spell Snare. But he could have possibly trapped him on the Standstill with the Edict. So there's the Wasteland for that Treetop Village. Robert's actually in a kind of awkward situation.
Disagree.
Really?
I mean, here's my feeling. When my opponent has Standstill, this is from my experience from the past, and I have Life from the Loam, I don't care about their Standstill. The Life from the Loam just runs that over.
But Robert doesn't really have a real engine to go with this.
Oh, he does not have any Barrenmores or anything.
Oh, he drew a Wasteland for the Wasteland. Oh, suddenly everything changes. Robert is just going to start cracking with the Treetop Village and maybe put this Merfolk player under enough pressure.
Now I like the Standstill being
there. Yeah, that Standstill no longer is doing good work. It might lock Spencer out of this game a little bit. Robert's debating whether he wants to pull the trigger on this Life from the Loam, but I don't think you do. I would. Scavenging Ooze.
Zoink. Does he tapped out?
Yes.
Let's see if Daze hits.
Daze? Second Daze?
These are the days.
Ah, Robert. Just because people don't play Daze anymore, you still have to play around it when they do. Daze has actually just kind of disappeared from the format a little bit. We've seen a couple, but outside of Delver, like, even the Delver deck was cutting down to 3 earlier today.
We're going to see a Curse Catcher?
It's another Aether Vial from, that's the, from the Vault.
Alternate
Exiled,
art,
I believe?
Alternate art always gets me.
Yep. Robert draws return. Let's see. He has a lot of really good cards he can draw here. Like, Kitchen Finks is very good against this fish deck. Scavenging Ooze as well. Tarmogoyf. 3. He also has he has 2 Pernicious Deeds in his deck. That is a card that has traditionally always wrecked Merfolk. Green Sun Zenith.
For 2. Getting an Ooze?
Getting an Ooze. I think he wants an Ooze. That is I'm picking up and reading what Scavenging Ooze does. This is like the first deck I've ever seen. He has 3 main deck Scavenging Oozes, by the way, for those at home. That is a lot. And he was saying he wanted the 4th. or a third Green Sun Zenith instead of the second Tarmogoyf. Like, Tarmogoyf is, you know, that's back in the day. It's no longer good enough. We want our 2-3 giant monsters that also gain us life and exile cards in graveyards. Spencer bumps up Aether Vials, draws for his turn. He has a Korham in hand, 3 lands, it's a Regery. Let's see, probably going to drop this Regery here. I think Rob's on the beatdown plan here with this treetop and this.
The only way Spencer can remove a creature that hits the table is
combat.
by combat. I mean, he can try to rejury somebody into being useless, but
yeah,
but that's a rough
If Rob
plan.
just wants to turn guys sideways, he's gonna start this fight and end it. EOT, ooze grows. EOT, ooze grows. Rob up to 22. Let's see. Because that was killing the Korham. Yeah, he ate the Korham Commander and the Scavenge Ooze. Rob looking to draw another kill spell potentially. Or just send in with
I wouldn't have
power.
mind bringing back the Life from the Loam every turn to give the ooze more food.
Rob still has all these Dark Confidants in his graveyard too. So this ooze is giant. It's a 6/6 potentially.
How can you lose?
With the ooze? 6/6 is actually bigger than that Korham Commander can get. The one that can be leveled up to full? Yeah, not just 5/5 with this Regery in play. Treetop Village.
Wow.
Manning up.
Grrr, here they come.
Potential 9 power coming in here. Is this enough to force some kind of block, or is Rob just gonna
No block, and Rob says, ooze it up.
Ooze it up, gain a life. Ooze it up, gain a life. Interesting to note, no dismembers in this Merfolk list. I know they were on those for a while, but those are just gone in favor of more cards that are just a bit better against these assorted blue cards that aren't really creatures.
Things we might see: Threads of Disloyalty, Relic of Progenitus, Submerge. Those are all reasonable cards for Rob to have to fight face down from Spencer next game.
So 7 life to 24. Rob with a 6 power ooze and a treetop, 2 treetop villages now. To Spencer's Mutavault and Korham Commander, Regery, and unknown card with Vials on presumably 3 and 2. I think Korham Commander is going to start leveling up here. Get to a 4/4 at least so it can block down these oozes. Let's see. Looks like another creature in his hand. That's a Merfolk Sovereign. Let's see. 4 mana. Leveling up the commander all the way. It was a 5/5 on board.
Fly, fly, little fish.
Yeah, 5/5 flying. And the Regery is now a 3/3. Let's see. So, counting up power and toughness here. Spencer with a Lord in hand.
Only a single card, that Lord, right? I don't think he has anything else. I think it's just that card.
Yeah, just a Lord, but that's what he's looking for here.
He says go, because the ooze is a little bit too scary right now, actually.
I think...
Dredge it, Mr. Vaca.
He wants to... Well, I think the main reason he wants to dredge is to wasteland this Mutavault.
Well, I also like the possible more food for the ooze.
He has 2 Dark Confidants, an ooze, 2 Tarmogoyfs, 2 Finks, and a Thrun left. So he only has like... Yeah, he has 6 creatures left in his library.
And a Dryad Arbor,
Oh, and Dryad Arbor is in fact a creature, yes. That is true. That is both of his treetop villages there, looking like they're supporting the good beats plan. Rob's just going to draw his card. Is this ooze going to get in there and force some trades? I don't think there are any creatures left in graveyards. Rob could draw Maelstrom Pulse here, which would be devastating. Jite would also be absolutely absurd. Green Sun Zenith would be reasonable, but not unbeatable. But I think this ooze might trade away this combat step. Robert's probably debating whether he wants to get in there with the ooze and force the trade with the commander, or if on the double block, or if he's better off just keeping it around. But I think he has to force the issue because too many lords is just going to overwhelm him.
Yeah, I definitely don't like drawing here, though. I mean, regardless of whether he actually hits a creature, getting that wasteland back
Yes.
is a big deal. And that ooze, if it does get a creature, is going to be big enough to actually do a lot of work on Spencer, so that
Right.
Spencer's going to have to just toss something away, or... Oh, there we go. Activates two...
Village. Humph? Is that what's happening? You know, because...
Here they all come.
Everybody to the face. Let's see here. What are the blocks? So if he flashes in the Lord, he can block the 2 villages and go to 1, because his Lords become 4s. I kind of like that play. Just eat the 2 villages on this attack.
You can chump that ooze. That ooze does not have trample.
Yeah, he
So
can
later
trade. Well, he can trade the core helm for the ooze. But the thing is,
I'm saying with your plan, then he can chump the ooze in the future.
yeah, exactly.
There's a Merfolk Sovereign, so...
Yeah, and if he loses any of his lords in combat, all of these blocks become exponentially worse because his guys shrink down to 3/3s after damage and die.
That's
but,
3 lords in play.
3 lords, so he's got I believe, 6/6 commander, 4/4, and a 4/4 to block the treetops. I think you just go to 1. I think you assume that Rob's deck does not have a highway robber or something. For lack of any better card I could think about the top of my head to do 1 burn.
How much of a loss that is for Rob to lose 2 land, and then...
He does have the loam though, so he could just be gassing.
But I mean,
right
the time-wise, that's a loss. That's a lot of time loss for Rob.
Sure. So...
And I think we see the exact block that you described before. Spencer Miller going to 1, losing making Rob Vaca lose 2 lands. Oh, a wasteland drawn by Rob, killing the Mutavault.
Rob needs to draw a piece of removal here, sort of force this ooze through so it doesn't just trade for the commander.
Well, right now Spencer's in a throw away a creature position.
Well, the commander's the same size as the ooze, though, so it's not really throwaway. He actually gets a trade in.
That's fair.
The ooze and commander being a 6 with, as far as I know, no other creatures left. Spencer is going to attack.
In for 8. Oh, in for 4.
Debating
in for who knows.
Debating whether he wants to, let's see, but if Rob just draws a removal spell, the commander dies, and it goes over the top of double Lord anyways. So I think you want to attack with at least 1 Lord. The question is whether you leave back a Lord so that if he rips a removal spell for the core helm, you're not just straight up dead. If you leave back a Lord to say, well, if you draw Edict, my combined power is still 7, so that I can still trade for a 7-power ooze. I think you leave back a Lord.
Oh. Wow, he goes into the chump block plan, comes in for 10.
Yeah, that's the other option.
Now remember, Spencer Miller might have a Merfolk in hand that he could cast to nope, never mind.
Well, he does have, he could cast a Merfolk, he could also vial something in combat.
But you can't vial and untap. I was going to suggest cast and untap the Coral Helm.
Oh, the old sort of
Twiddle
bell ringer?
Yeah.
Rob debating if he wants to try and get back these treetops. But I think at this point, the treetops are not going to matter this game. Let's see. I don't think he wants to try and dredge here. I think he wants to just draw a card. Go for either Maelstrom Pulse, Pernicious Deed, Edict, or Jite. Though, I don't know if Jite does enough right now. Yeah, Jite might come up short. Actually, against the 1 blocker, yeah, if he has a Jite here, yeah, Jite would definitely do it. If he had left back the core home, Jite might have been a little too late. Let's see. Rob is opting to dredge.
There we go.
Hits a Dryad Arbor, a Liliana of the Veil, and...
He's like, that's a creature.
Yep. So... Ooze is gonna... Actually, I like this dredge, because each of these treetops is lethal now that Spencer is at 1. He needs to keep up a blocker for the ooze and for a treetop. Lords to 5, 7. So Robert's a little bit short of being able to trade if Spencer can vial in a Lord. But I think if Spencer vials in another Lord, Rob just is dead if he doesn't attack. So yeah, just has to smash in there and hope that there's not another Merfolk in Spencer's hand.
Okay.
Let's see. Ooze gets in there. looks like Spencer probably has
And he's a chumper.
Chump Block.
That makes his ooze. That makes Rob's ooze huge, huge.
8/8 lethal / lethal.
Life from the Loam going to target Wasteland Treetop.
Probably. Yep, that's what it looks like. Treetop Village coming right into play, presumably. And Rob's going to pass with the ability to gain 2 life at any point, waiting. Or is he's going to use it now? Sure.
Immediately
Minimal
gains...
chance of Stifle. Could have done it on upkeep to tie down mana, but it really doesn't matter too much.
Rob now at 15.
Yep. Opts to not eat his opponent's creature, it looks like. Maybe see if he forgets about it. Draws a Wasteland for the Treetop. That was a good one here. He can get in there for 5 and have a Chump Blocker.
What Spencer really, really needs here is a Silvergill Adept and another Merfolk.
Yep.
The reason I say that is that he can untap as well. But I mean, if he just actually flashes it into play with the Vial, that's probably fine.
Yeah, just drawing a card. I mean, getting another Merfolk into play would be absolutely amazing for him. I think Robert just draws a card here. I don't think I want to... If you weren't dredging before, I don't think you want to dredge now. Maelstrom Pulse, Bob, and I cannot see what that last card is. A Wasteland. Whew. That ooze is so huge. I think if you're Rob, you just sort of... Oh, you dredge this turn, though. Do you want to... Let's see, that's a 3/3 Regery. I think you... Yeah, Animate Village. Attack. Force the Wasteland. It's going to happen anyways. Yep, there's the attack. There's the Chump. There's the Waste. I think you just play a Treetop and pass the turn with the ability to eat 2 creatures up at any point.
There are still 2 creatures in Spencer's yard.
Humph. Ooze up to
Nom nom.
Way more than lethal. Way more than anything Spencer can throw in the way.
Nom nom.
Yep. Oh, yeah, second dice showing up today. Robert up to 12. Scavenging Ooze really putting in some hard work right here. It's decelerated the clock by at least a turn.
And Spencer Miller just packs it up, packs it in.
To an ever-growing Scavenging Ooze.
Okay.
Rob's just kind of shaking his head. What was I thinking? Why didn't I just dredge earlier? I would have hit creatures.
So what do you think here when it comes to Spencer Miller's sideboard? The cards that really stick out to me a lot are Threads of Disloyalty, Submerge, and a little bit with Relic of Progenitus because he's dealing with, he can stop an ooze from being useful.
Or Tarmogoyf.
Or Tarmogoyf, yeah.
Or stop the life from
the Life from the Loam, yeah.
It might be okay. Also, Phantasmal Image.
I mean, his sideboard actually looks like it's almost 15 cards that we could consider coming in against this.
I don't really like propaganda.
I'm not saying that he should do it.
Yeah.
I'm saying, like, 15 of these cards have some relevance.
Yeah, there's 13 cards I would really consider bringing in. Threads, Submerge, Jite, Image, and Relic.
So what do you take out here? I mean, obviously...
Curse Catcher.
Yeah, Curse Catcher comes first. Force of Will is sometimes frustrating when you're being ground down, but also stopping a Bob is awesome. But maybe you just threads the Bob and you submerge the Bob. So here we go, 4 Force of Will, 4 Curse Catcher to start. Get rid of those guys?
I don't know about Daze. I think that this matchup, Rob's deck looks like it's a little set up to beat a Daze.
So that's 12 cards you could bring in.
12 cards. Yeah, I've heard the Curse Catcher, you might not be able to cut all of them just to ensure your deck still functions. I'm not really sure. And he's seen Maelstrom Pulse, so it's really tough here. He doesn't know Rob has Deed yet. And Deed is just back-breaking here.
I mean, whenever you see that color combination, it's a little scary to imagine a Deed, but he did see a Mox Diamond. Mox Diamond sometimes indicates people aren't running the Deed.
Yeah, maybe they're on Aggro Loam or something similar to that.
I mean, just like, because Mox Diamond Deed is a Nombo. So, I mean, you do it anyway sometimes because you want the power of the card. But, you know, sometimes you don't.
Rob's sideboard has a 3rd Deed and a Damnation. And chokes.
Choke. Oh, choke.
Against this 12 Island deck. He also has another Kitchen Finks, potentially Thoughtseize and Hymn to Torok if he wants those effects, or Thrun. Rob can start cutting things like... I really don't like the Life from the Loam engine here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Is Rob playing 21 lands and Mox Diamonds? Mox Diamond's a rampant growth. It's not a land. It's not even a rampant growth. It's like you discard a land to play it. It's not even a land. 10, 14,
he's got
21.
Bobs. He's got Bobs.
He does have Bobs, I guess. It just feels like a little cheating on lands. But
he's got Life from the Loam.
he might board out a Mox or two if he's leaning heavily on Deed, though.
He's got Sylvan Library.
Sylvan Library. That card is awesome. He has a Sylvan Library. Do you want him in this matchup? I almost think you have to cut some discard spells. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely. I think you definitely want your Inquisitions.
Right.
And
I think him might be better to discard then.
I think Cabal Therapy is not unreasonable to get rid of.
Oh, yeah, I didn't even see that for a second. Yeah, I would get Cabal Therapy out immediately. The him 2-for-1 might help fight Silvergill Adept a little bit.
Yeah, I agree with that. I think Kitchen Finks actually is another card that it's minor, but I think Rob might bring it in because Kitchen Finks, until they get to that threshold of Lords, is actually a really stymieing creature.
Well, it stops. Let's see. It's actually kind of hard for them to deal. They have to keep a Regery. About half their guys are good against it, like Sovereign, Regery, and Corehelm. It stops Silvergill and Lord. I'm actually not too hot on Kitchen Finks in this matchup.
Okay, fair enough.
Though it does force them to have a Merfolk every turn for the Regery. It's also like a reasonable threat that kind of, if they have a single Lord, can really hold the fort.
Absolutely. Like I feel like you have to get to the level where you've got basically like a third thing going on every time in order for the Finks to like be useless. You know.
Yeah, but that also means that he has to start extending into Rob's Deeds and Damnation, so he might just leave Finks in as sort of a bait, like something that he has to fight through. Speaking of Deed, it looks like there's one in Rob's hand, and a Mox Diamond.
Deed traditionally good against decks with Aether Vial.
Deed traditionally good against creatures.
Yeah. Well, I mean, Aether Vial in particular, though,
yes.
because a lot of the Aether Vial decks, they often run not enough mana, and they use their Aether Vial because they're planning on kind of pushing out you know, the creatures onto the table. You know,
Rob has Basic Forest, Mox Diamond after Spencer starts on Island Go.
Bob?
Discards Treetop Village.
Bob? Yeah.
Passes the turn, submerges Bob.
Submerge is so ridiculous.
Yes.
Attention players in the two-headed
absolutely absurd.
For the fourth and final round are now posted.
Let's see.
Please find your seats.
Looking at Spencer's hand, he
I
has
see a Hymn to Turok in Rob's hand.
Ooh.
Unless I'm misreading that.
That's a choke.
Oh, it's okay. Yeah, I got that wrong.
Ooh, choke.
Second island.
Second Bob off the top. Oh, yeah, sure. Why not?
Hey, another Bob?
Oh, wait.
Same
First Bob off the top.
Oh.
No! I got trapped by Submerge.
Daze? I think you're right that Spencer should probably cut all of his counter spells.
Forces.
Yeah.
He might want Force to deal with. It's either all or none.
Well, he's got he's got
On the
Submerge
play-
and he's got Threads.
On the play, he probably wants that. Actually, on the play, he might just be able to be very aggressive.
Are we going to see a Lord here?
Yep, Merfolk Sovereign and a Wasteland for Rob, who did miss his land drop last turn. And
I mean,
this turn.
he's running a few. He's running 21.
One more,
Jite.
that's one more than this Merfolk die. Rob drops a Jite. Spencer's turn. Sovereign win 3 lands, facing down Jite and 2 mana sources. 3 mana. Second Sovereign, attack for 3.
Boom.
I'm kind of hoping for a Maelstrom Pulse here. I want to see that happen in Legacy. Oh, by the way, take both of them. It's a Green Sun Zenith, so that is a mana source for Rob. But yet again, I was talking about this with Rob having to Pernicious Deed away all of his own mana. You know, there's a Dryad Arbor, there's a Mox Diamond. Those both die to Deed. Deed does in fact say it kills creatures, artifacts, enchantments. It's not the standard non-land. Let's see here. Yep, Dryad Arbor comes down. Starting to get into spell range, but we will see. We will see. Rob is up a game here. He has a little room to give, but he is probably in a scenario where he cannot afford Pernicious Deed.
I mean, he might just have to do it and be like,
yeah.
Oh, well. Oh, bother. Now, we just saw Rob tutor for that Dryad Arbor. I take that as a signal to wasteland that Arbor.
Very likely. I mean, missing land drops as well. Just keep him off of 3. 3 is Deed. 3 is Pulse. 3 is Disaster. I think Spencer had a standstill, and this seems like a perfect time to just
Oh
sort of...
man, yeah, swing, wasteland, or cast the standstill, and I would just not even bother letting Rob have the option to equip that. Just waste it now.
Yes. Wasteland it now. Keep him off even casting actual spells. Let's see.
There's the standstill. Any responses? Oh, I've got a sneaky response. No, that's fine.
No. Dismember. Just bluffing it.
6 you.
6 to the face. Rob drops 11. Dead in 2. Let's see. Passes the turn.
I don't like it, but oh well. Standstill is still going to give him some value.
Might be time for Pernicious Deed to try and make an appearance, but if Spencer left in his counterspells, it's going to be a little bit awkward. Let's see. We've seen the Force. Does he still have Dazes? Pernicious Deed in Rob's hand, potentially coming down in the next few seconds here. But I think Rob is just obliged to break the standstill immediately. If he doesn't, I mean,
what we were talking about before, about what matters, right? So sometimes, for example, you have to cast a brainstorm that's not a very good brainstorm, because it being a good brainstorm matters less than doing something now.
Sometimes,
in this case,
not dying costs you 3 cards for your opponent and all of your cards in play.
I would rather not die, you know? I've played against opponents where they had 0 permanents left, and I was at like 8 life, had a Sylvan Library in play, and they went down to 0 permanents on purpose in order to make a play. And you know what? They came back and won.
Was the play Fire Blast?
It was, but they were a zoo deck with Fire Blast. You know, sometimes you have to do that stuff.
Tarmogoyf for Rob. That is also acceptable alongside this GT. Probably much better than a Deed for him here. Spencer trying to draw 3.
Dos. Trace.
Interesting note, if he had... Ooh, that's another Submerge.
Submerge is such a monster.
Yeah.
Take that, Dryad Arbor. I'll just untap. You don't have to cast it now, Spencer. You can wait. It's all good.
What's really cute is that Dryad Arbor itself is a forest, so it enables Submerge on itself. Submerge is a beating.
The die on the Tarmogoyf. Well, why not just do it now? Who cares?
Yeah.
I mean, I like waiting personally, but he's like, why not?
It's such a marginal difference, but it's worth noting that these sort of free effects, you know, people like to EOT their gut shots because they're just used to EOTing things, or EOT their Submerges. Draw your card, see what's up. Maybe you want a different line.
Maybe you've got a better line.
You still cost you 0 mana now and 0 mana later.
Yeah, pretend there was a Threads.
Yeah,
Regery. How much is that with all those lords?
That is 8. Yes. Some of the other plays, EOT Wasteland, no need to do it then. You can untap it. If you sack it now and sack it then, it still doesn't make you mana next turn. Shard Volley was another one. You know, that
Shard Volley people do a lot, actually.
Yes. Robert Vaca packs it into the 12 power.
Game 3 coming up now.
So we see this sort of land-like configuration coming back and punishing Rob Vaca a little bit, but I think the game may have been decided on that Dark Confidant not sticking around.
Yeah.
That basic forest had been a basic swamp. It would have been much better for Rob.
Oh, I think it would have been an entirely different game.
Yeah.
I think Rob might have been able to push through. I mean, Rob's deck, as you said, it's kind of cheating on mana. It's only running 21 lands. 21 lands with 3 Moxes is not much, and a Bob resolving makes that few lands not so painful.
Yeah.
But if there's no Bob, you can just be stuck. Be stuck wondering where your mana is.
I know that usually I'm used to like Mox Diamond decks being these 43 land decks, or like even Aggro Loam, which runs a lot closer to 30 than 20, I believe.
It's okay to run a much smaller land count with Mox Diamond if you're doing something to make up for it. If you're casting Tithe, if you're casting Life from the Loam, if you're casting Howling Mine, if you're casting Dark Confidant. But
Rob is Bob and he has Life from the Loam, but I still feel a little awkward sort of cheating on mana here.
Well, I mean, the thing about it is, what you're making a decision for is power over consistency, right? So what happens if Bob doesn't stick around? Well, maybe you choke on spells in your hand and not enough mana in play.
Let's see. taking a look back in time here at some decks that are using Mox Diamond. Let's see. Looking at some